Does he get along well with the other dogs?
Not really.
No?
No.
Okay.
It seems like maybe a little bit better, but not really.
What's the issue?
Well, Ricky
Okay.
is the alpha.
Is that one of the other dogs?
He's a multi-poo, so he's
Yep.
this big and he just screams at Skipper.
Okay.
It makes him go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And stresses him out. And then Lucy, when he
Okay.
gets in Lucy's tushy, like her butt, like she just gets, it's a little bit, he's just being playful.
Mm-hmm.
But she's,
Okay.
she just gets so stressed out. So
Yeah.
we keep them separate.
You keep them totally separate?
Totally separate. Sometimes they come together.
Okay.
And then really do, Ricky starts barking.
Yeah. How long have you been keeping them separate for? Okay.
Since we brought him home.
Oh, since the very beginning?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, a couple things, right? So, there's a few dynamics. One, obviously, you know, when you get into, how old are the other two dogs?
12.
They're both 12?
Yes.
Okay, so they're pretty set in their ways at this point. So, okay, so there's kind of two ways we can handle this, right? So a lot of times I find that people will kind of proactively, a little too early, start separating the dogs before the dogs have had a chance to like really establish like a relationship with each other, you know what I mean? So it may be something where it's as simple as you gotta just put them together and just like leave them together for a little bit. And then if you were saying Ricky set some boundaries with him, right? You gotta let him set those boundaries, you know what I mean?
Let Ricky set the boundaries?
Yeah, well, a combination of the two, right? So initially, obviously, Ricky's setting the boundaries, right? And, you know, if he picks up on those, great, right? A lot of times they do. If not, that's where it's our job to then step in and set those boundaries for him, right? So obviously we're not gonna change the ways of the 12-year-olds at this point, so it's our job then to assist them setting those boundaries. So let's say Ricky's over here, he goes over to mess with him, Ricky starts screaming and barking at him, right? We kind of let that take place, and eventually he'll probably go and do something else, right? If he doesn't and he continues to persist, then we would step in and we would give him a correction for that, right? We would tell him to cut it out, right? Go over, tell him no, you can give him a leash pop, right? A little poke on the side. You know, they sell something called a pet corrector, which is like a little can of air basically. It's like a spray. Do something to help set that boundary to teach him, hey, when Ricky starts doing this, you gotta leave him alone, right? But the first step of it is you gotta just start having them together because it doesn't sound like you've given them much of an opportunity to have those boundaries set. And the problem is, just like anything else, if you're held back from something you really want to get to, what's that going to do? It's going to make you want to get to it more, right?
Yeah, right?
So in the case of Skipper here, if he really wants to get to those other dogs and we're continuously holding him back, when we do go to put him together, he's just going to like, just launch himself over there like 10 times more intense, right? So that one thing I would start doing is I would just start literally just putting them together and just like give it a week, right? Where like we have them together for a week and we let them kind of figure out this thing with each other and we just supervise it and make sure nobody kills each other, obviously. But you just get them together. And usually after a week of it, the novelty of them being together wears off and they kind of learn the boundaries. You know what I mean?
It's dangerous because I wonder, because Skipper sometimes has a heavy, he doesn't need to be,
Sure.
but his arms are, he's so much bigger.
Yeah.
I worry he's gonna,
Yeah.
if he starts wrestling with Ricky, he's gonna just snap Ricky's neck or something. Like I just worry
Sure.
he's gonna.
So, you know, obviously I'm not going to say like, no, something like that could never, ever, ever happen, you know what I mean? Because like they're dogs. But I'll tell you, a lot of these dogs are way more durable than we think, right? Especially the little guys, you know? I mean, how many times, I don't know if you've done it before, but most of my clients have little dogs that you ask, I was like, how many times have you rolled over on this dog or accidentally stepped on them or something like that? And they're fine, you know what I mean? So him going over and giving him a little paw or something, like it's probably not going to be the end of the world, you know? But again, you monitor it. It's not like I'm saying like do this totally unsupervised. You monitor it. If it hits a point where it's like, you know, this is too intense, that's where again, leash is on. No, give him a pop on that leash, redirect him away from him, something like that, you know? But you really have to just start getting them together.